Well, Buffalo got back on track this weekend, I suppose. Kind of a shootout, wholly uninteresting game right now because, actually Buffalo's schedule is pretty easy down the stretch. They could probably go 4-1 over their last 5 games, but right now this game really wasn't all that interesting. But we saw some interesting things. Trent Edwards, big comeback game from him. He got his confidence back, which was what probably was killing him more than anything. No confidence. Again, Buffalo still not running the ball like you would want them to. It was better today, but particularly Marshawn Lynch still needs to take it up to the next level if he wants to be considered an elite back, which some people think he is. Lee Evans, proving that he's worth more than the long bomb. That's what some people say about him. He's only good for the long bombs, but he had a nice all-around game today. Really, it was just an offensive shootout. That's about all you can say. Really, my favorite thing that happened in this game was a huge game from Tony G. 10 catches, 133 yards and a touchdown. Always like to see Tony Gonzalez have big games. I don't know how many years he has left, but he could have quite a few, and he already has all the tight end records, so he's one of those rare all-time great players, so definitely. Let's see. Leotis McKelvin, the rookie, had a couple of picks. He took one back to the house. Big game for Leotis McKelvin. I always like to watch these rookie cornerbacks because their adjustment is so interesting, and they have the propensity to make these big plays, and when they do, it's really fun to watch. So I like me some rookie corners. Kansas City still has to be somewhat happy with guys like Tyler Thigpen and Dwayne Bowe playing well. There's only so much you can. At some point, you have to be just willing to take what you can get. Bears Rams. I don't really have anything interesting to say here, but I don't know if Mark Bulger got hurt or not, because he only threw a couple passes in this game and then got pulled for Trent Green, who was out of this world bad. So they went through Mark Bulger, Trent Green, Brock Berlin, and even Donnie Jones threw a pass. And I kind of like it. I kind of like them shaking things up. I also kind of like them not putting Bulger out there because they're paying him $60 million over the next 6 years. And if he gets the crap beat out of him this year, who knows if he'll ever be able to get back on track. So maybe it's a good thing that they're keeping him out of games and not letting him get beat up, because Rams couldn't do diddly poo, as Jim Moore would say. Could not run the ball. Only player who stepped up on offense was Torrey Holt, who had I should hate Torrey Holt, and most of me definitely does, but he's also a rare talent, and I enjoy watching him play and seeing him do well, as long as it doesn't come at the expense of Seattle. So there. Chicago, again, there's really not a lot to say here. Matt Forte continues to take it up to the next level. Matt Forte ran very well, 140 yards and a couple touchdowns. That's Tommy Harris. Tommy Harris is back. He had a couple sacks. Let's see. We're starting to see the big names in this Chicago defense pop up again. Ogunleye, Urlacher, Briggs. These guys are making plays again. That's what they need. I hadn't heard these guys' names all year for the most part. Maybe they're back. Vikings, Jaguars. I don't know what to say about this game because it had no flow. I mean, the Minnesota offense mounted like 200 total yards and still put up 30 points. Jacksonville managed like 300, a little over 300, and only put up 12. The Vikings, I think they had that one defensive touchdown. They forced a couple of timely turnovers. Jacksonville had turned it over 5 times. They had fumbles, they had picks, and everything else. It's not like Peterson raped the world or anything. It's not like Gus Frerotte played well, because really he didn't. It's not like anybody on the Vikings had a huge game or stepped up big, offensively anyway, but they just won in big fashion, and there was no discernible flow to this game. excuse me, or anything. Just a lot of turnovers and a lot of short drives. So Minnesota, maybe that's what they need to do to win games. It's not something you can depend on, but it's nice when it happens. Antoine Winfield, Pro Bowl season from him. He's playing really well. Keep an eye on him when you're voting the Pro Bowl, because he will not get a lot of consideration, but he might deserve it. Oh, and I heard Kevin Williams and Pat Williams will get suspended very soon, so they needed this win, and they did get it. And they got big games from Kevin and Pat. Jacksonville, that's pretty much it for them. Once again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, they can't run the ball, even though they're a running team. They gave up on the run too fast. They put up good passing stats, but not efficient passing stats. And just a mess of a team right now, and it's sad because this team had Super Bowl hopes coming into the year. Kind of sad. Tampa Bay, Detroit. Detroit jumps off to a big lead once again. They stay in it. They keep you interested, and you gotta appreciate that. But the way they completely folded was I don't know what you can say about that. They just completely melted down the stretch. Culpepper had the 2 interceptions. There was a fumble at some point. Couldn't get anything going. And, hats off to Tampa Bay for sticking with the running game. They, had 18 passes in this game and 31 rushes. So they didn't give up on the run when they were down 17-0. They pounded it with Dunn. We saw Cadillac Williams get back involved, which is great to see. I like to see Cadillac Williams get back into the action, and they stuck to their game plan, which was really big. Garcia, another pleasantly efficient game, hitting a couple big plays and not making dumb mistakes. And of course, the Tampa Bay defense, they're well coached. They didn't get rattled early on, and they stuck to their guns. They got good quarterback pressure. They forced turnovers and waited for the inevitable Detroit line collapse. Now, I heard Culpepper got benched. I could be wrong, but I really want to see how Drew Stanton does the rest of the season, if so, and I hope he gets the rest of the season to himself. It's worth noting that Detroit has had 4 different full-time starting quarterbacks this year now. Culpepper, Kitna, Orfalowski, and Stanton. Maybe that's a record. They all got a share in this perhaps 0-16 season. Moving on from that, let's see. Oakland, Denver, 31-10 Denver, and it's kind of a bad matchup for Denver. The only thing they can do right now is pass the ball and dominate games through the air with mainly Brandon Marshall, and you could not pass to Brandon Marshall in this game. Nnamdi Asomugha was just doing what he does, and he is maybe the best corner in the game right now. So there's not much. It was a bad matchup, and I still thought Denver could win this game. I didn't think Oakland's offense had that in them, but they did. Russell had maybe his best game of the season. He just played it very safe and did the right thing. We got to see the return of Darren McFadden. I love me some McFadden, so I'm so glad he's healthy. Fargas, very good. Somehow, Ashley Lalee had a big game. Don't even talk to me about that. I don't know where that came from. Don't ask me about that. The defense very shut down. They didn't really let the Broncos take over the game on the ground because they couldn't pass it. Cutler was very poor in this game, couldn't get anything done. The Denver kicker missed some kicks that might have made a difference down the stretch. We don't know. Denver defense beyond pathetic, but we already knew that. I didn't know it was this bad, though. Got to be able to force Oakland into turnovers. Got to force them to punt. I still think this Denver team is probably going to win that division. I don't think San Diego can capitalize on all of this. But it almost makes you wish the NFL was a seeded tournament. That way, teams like Denver would have no chance of getting in. The 6 best teams in the conference would get in. not teams that got lucky because they got put in crappy divisions. So you think about it.